Hi, welcome to a new episode of Whole Earth Adventures. Today we're working on spearheads, and I like to use the Sawzall blade. Very durable, very strong, and it grinds down really nice into a very sharp edge. So that's what we're going to use today. I'm going to grind this puppy down and see what we can make out of it. Okay, today we're working on the spearhead. You're going to want to grind out this section right here. This will create that hook that holds the animal onto the spear. So we'll grind this out, we'll sharpen this edge right here, and sharpen this edge right here, leaving a majority of these burrs. From here, we will grind it down fairly flat, and this would be the area that is actually attached to your stick. Here. About here. So that's what we're looking for when it comes to grinding it. Not too difficult. Let's go from here. Let's take it to the grinder and see what happens. Okay, here we go. We got our spearhead. Didn't take but maybe 5 minutes of grinding. Took out this area right here. Nice little point. Knife edge on this side. Nice knife edge over here. Nice little spearhead. And later, we'll be taking a sharpening stone and working these edges really nice. So they look really nice and they're smooth. Right now they're kind of rough. That sharpening stone would take that out real nice. And this material is still kind of rough. So right now I'm going to take this sander and run it along here. Makes it nice and smooth. That is really nice. I'll be doing a little bit more sanding, and then I'll start with my sharpening stone. And we'll be right back. Okay, here we go. This is the stone that I use for this particular job. It's a nice, rough, coarse stone. Really helps me get a nice edge on here. And I'll just sit down and relax and work on this thing for, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it takes to get a really nice, honed edge on it. So that's what I'll do, and this is pretty much the end of this spearhead. That's all it takes. It doesn't take much time at all. I do like to keep at least a 1/4 inch right here, if not more, if not 3/8, because this area here, even though this material is really strong and it would take a lot to break it, I do like to keep it no less than a 1/4 inch right along here. I wish this was a little bit thicker, but it'll be fine for what we need it for. And hopefully we'll be able to catch a fish with this. See what happens. Okay, now that we have the blade all nice and smooth, nice and sharp, I like to put a little bit of paint on it. Keep it from rusting. Especially around here, we've got a lot of salt water, and it won't take long at all for this to get rusty. I've been using a little bit of brown on this one, but I don't know about that. I think if it were to come off my stick at any point, it would get lost in the woods. I would completely lose it, would not be able to see it. So I'm going to paint this one white. Just a little bit. Nice, fine coat. Just enough to keep the rust off. And after that, I hang it up to dry. Alright, right now we are going to make a sheath for this spearhead out of webbing. Simple everyday climbing webbing. Got some left over around. There you go. Gonna go with the blue today instead of the black. That'll be easier to see if I were to drop it. So that's what we'll do with this, but first I'm going to go ahead and put an edge on this spearhead. I'm going to take off this excess paint. I'm going to do it with something you don't care about too much, because try to use a stone, that paint will get it inside the sharpening stone and clog it up. Be good for now. I just use one just for our starters. Okay, now with this webbing, it's like a little tube, and it's perfect size for your spearhead to go inside and keep them from poking things and cutting things. It's good storage. I think it works nicely. I just came up with this the other day. I used to use bits and pieces of cardboard. Worked okay. Just, you know, it's a little bit cheap. You know, if it gets wet, it's ruined. So I decided, hey, I bet I can use some of this. And sure enough, it fits real well. So I'm just going to go full length of the particular spearhead. You can make them large enough to hold a couple of them if you want. I made this one earlier. It's a little bit smaller, but if you want, you could probably put 2 or even 3 in one case if you wanted. But I like to keep mine separate and keep them in separate packs. But if you want 2 of them together, that's no problem. So let's go ahead and cut this one off at the length of this. Maybe it's a little bit extra. Like that. I found if you frayed the ends real well, unless you are going to sew, you can possibly sew the end of it here. This one was already sewn up right here. I used it for an earlier project, but probably not gonna sew this in. I'm gonna try melting the end completely together and see if that's gonna be sufficient for storage. So, and I also like to use an old Sawzall blade. Get this good and hot. Press it together real good. Might have to do it a couple times. See, once you get that together, it's there. Not going nowhere. Maybe sufficient for what we need. Yeah, look at that. I'm going to give this side another. And if you wet your fingers before you touch this, it won't burn so much. Using paracord or something like that, you give your fingers a good lick or put them in water. It won't hurt so much when you work it. And there we go. Got yourself a spearhead sheath, and it'll be a lot safer when you put it in your pack. We'll be turning this gunny sack into this ghillie suit. I've already done the head, and we'll go through that and I'll show you how I did it. I think it still needs a little bit of work, but basically I think it's pretty well done. And together we will work on the bottom. And there you go. One ghillie suit coming up. Well, this has been another episode of Whole Earth Adventures, and if you stick with us, we're going to try out that spearhead and see if we can actually catch something with it. That's the challenge. Catch you later.